I've been making preparations for this particular video, but in this video, I'm going to cover at least a majority of the 22 games released over the years. And I'm starting with the 1.0, and that's kind of a problem. Well, it is and it isn't, but the original 1.0 has not aged gracefully. Although, to be fair, it was the very first version of the AI, so I don't hate it, it just hasn't aged the best. Ignoring that, though, here's the rare Gold 1.0, which came bundled with the 20Q Challenge 20Q. If you got the bundle that came, like this came with 20Q Challenge, which I'm not showing on camera because it won't show up, like the actual flowing display thing won't show up on camera. But it's like this crystal ball shaped thing. It's not like a floating display because it has like this rod inside of it, like inside the dome. But if you had like this Toys R Us bundle, it would come with this thing. I don't think this is the first time the 20Q 1.0 had bigger buttons and the backlight switch, which that's what that is. But it is my favorite. And like I said, this one is very hard to find. Like, no, I'm not exaggerating. People always think that I am most of the time, but I rarely see this one like on eBay, which is where I got mine. I also want to point out, I think this is the only time in which the 1.0 had the color of the screen inverted, because usually it's a black background with red text, like that, for example. This is the inverse, where it's black text on a bright red background. I'm not going to play all of these or any of these in full because that'd take up a lot of time. But explaining the concept of 20Q isn't that hard to do, actually. 20Q, it's the concept of the game of, well, 20 questions. Except it's an AI, like, this is a portable AI. It's not like a real AI, like, it's not going to, like, how do I explain this? Like, it's not like a supercomputer AI, but it is still a kind of AI. Like, it's a type of AI. But right here is the layout for the buttons. I believe that's unknown. It's kind of coming off. Text is kind of coming off there. That's yes. Yes, new game. On yes, new game. No sound. I think that's... It's hard to tell because the text is coming off. But yes, no. No, on yes, new game. No sound. Reset, and that's either unknown or sometimes they're unknown. Buttons for scrolling the text speed. That's the battery compartment, which is where that, like, the screw right there is to open the battery door. In case anyone is curious, the inside of the battery door on this one in particular is silver, which is really cool, to be honest. But ignoring that, like, no, not ignoring that, moving on, I guess. If I can find it, I'm trying to go in chronological order because it's hard to memorize everything. But I do believe this came next. 20Q big screen, which is, let's get this out of the way because it's funny. It looks just like a digital alarm clock. It's not just me, right? This operates on 2 AA's, and the layout is a little bit, no, it's drastically different, like in terms of the way everything's arranged. But text scrolling buttons, sound is up here. I didn't actually expect that when I first got mine. Rarely, I believe that's the very first appearance of the rarely button. Unknown, no. Reset, oh, they move reset right there. I keep forgetting about that. Undo, the very first appearance of the undo button, I think. Sometimes on yes, new game. The sound design is definitely different. But yeah, it's more or less the same, but I'm just like going over these, not going to play any of them because that take up a lot of time. So, I almost forgot to explain like how you choose what you're thinking of. Animal, vegetable, mineral, other, or unknown, which I actually never figured out what that meant, or unknown. I still don't know what that's supposed to mean. Probably something that it normally wouldn't know, like what the AI itself wouldn't know. I don't know for sure. But if there's... No, the color variants for this one are red, like this purplish blue, different kind of color thing. Purplish blue, red, green, and like this pinkish purple. That makes sense. And I believe next comes the kind of, sort of, not really 2.0 thing. It's like an oval egg-shaped thing. Where's the first one? I think this is the first 2.0. It's kind of hard. It really is hard to explain. I keep saying that, but it really is. Because there are... Actually, no, this is the first 2.0, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is, because the first 2.0, Undo is right there. In later releases that are shaped like this 2.0, Reset is right there. It's really hard to... Like, it really is hard to explain. I keep saying it, but it really is. This is a green variant, and it actually has rubbery buttons, which I was not expecting that either. The text scrolling buttons are right here. Sound, sometimes, on yes, new game, no, unknown, rarely. The sound font, I believe, is different as well on this one. Yes, it is. Screen is kind of having a hard time showing up on camera, not on stream, but you know what I mean. That came in green, that purplish blue color, red, and that pinkish purple color as well. After that, I think this the exact same year or a few years, actually it might have been the exact same year or 1 year after, which I keep forgetting about that as well. They kind of repurposed it, and they re-released it in different colors, like solid colors. This is the one that most people have probably seen. The funky purple, which has this really nice design surrounding the screen. I always want to know what that kind of design is called. I've seen it a few times before, not just on this, but I always want to know what it's called. But as you can see, Reset is right there. It's not on the back. I believe the sound font is still the same. No, it's the exact same as the 1.0, which I was not expecting that either. I'm not going to go over any of this, like, anything about this in detail. There's not really much to, except, you know, Undo isn't there, and it's not there because that's where Reset would be. I'm trying to prevent redundancy as much as possible. There's also, and a lot of people didn't know this existed, I didn't even know it existed, there's this Sharper Image 20Q, and I did check, it is an official thing by Radica. It's just primarily handled by Sharper Image. Like, it doesn't say anywhere on the unit itself, but I actually did check the box that came in, which was a box, not like one of those open packages, like, you know, those packages that has, like, where you can, like, try the buttons out. No, it's, like, an actual box, which is pretty cool. The exact same thing. Like, literally the exact same sound font and everything. There's also a Radio Shack version, which is also more or less the same as this one, except gray buttons and the design around the screen is a little bit different. Same color scheme and everything. And also, I love the design surrounding this screen. It's really cool. Like, it's got like a rippling oval effect. I love this. And I think after that, from what I can tell, my understanding, the 2.0 sold really well because they like to release the 2.0 a lot. And I do mean a lot. We get all of these, or at least most of them. Here's one of my personal favorites. Oh, yes, there it is. The Color Changing 2.0, which this starts out purple. Let me see if I can actually get it to change. Yes, it is. It turns this wonderful shade of blue. Like, it starts out purple, it turns blue, and then it's turning light blue, which I love that. It's beautiful. It reminds me of, like, a violet, like the flower violet, like blooming, blossoming, whatever. It also reminds me of a blueberry. It's wonderful to look at. If you appreciate small things like I do, like, if you also appreciate presentation, this is gorgeous to look at. I just love the way this, like, changes color. The sound font is drastically different. This is also the first time that they went back to the globe-shaped design. Yes, sometimes they're unknown. Pardon me, let me zoom in with my camera. Yeah. Yes, sometimes reset. Undo is right there, which that's pretty neat. That it's more conveniently placed, is what I'm trying to say. No, unknown, and sound. I don't know what that's for. Like, aside from, you know, omitting the backlight switch, I think that's the only reason why that exists. But yeah, more or less the exact same thing as, like, you know, 20Q in general, and, like, obviously the 2.0, except it's the globe-shaped design. Here's another one of my favorites. This really luscious and beautiful, it's one of the spring color variants. It's like this beautiful grassy green. And this is a nice little detail too, but if you pay close attention, like very close attention, there's like these kind of designs, like, I don't know what to call those, but like those are different with each and every one, even if it's the exact same color, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, that's the exact same. There's this grassy green variant. There's like this light purple with dark purple buttons, which there's this one, the light green with dark green buttons. A sky blue color, which has dark blue buttons, and like this kind of autumn orange color that has dark orange buttons. It's really beautiful. Like, I love things that just look beautiful. And then, I think I have this right. Yes, there's the Glow in the Dark 2.0, which is actually known as the Spooky 2.0, which is personally my absolute favorite of the 2.0. Like, it's only rivaled by the color changer. Like, this thing is really cool. It means a lot to me because it actually took me a very long time to even get this one. Like, it really took a long time. Last time I saw one was, what, 2016? But yes, if you've seen my short video, it does glow in the dark, and so do the buttons. It's really nice to look at. Also, and there's one other exception from what I can tell via my research and from acquiring it, there are only 2 of these 20Q games in general that have this wonderful lime green screen. Like, this is, like, this and the flowery glow in the dark spooky 2.0, from what I can tell, are the only exceptions. And I really do love it. Like, it makes 20Q more ominous, I guess. It looks pretty cool. And that leads me, well, to the flowery glow in the dark 2.0. It's literally the exact same, but like a slightly different color scheme. Like, no batteries in it right now, but the screen is green. And these do glow in the dark. The flowers don't, which I was kind of surprised by that. And this one, it's not archived in the 20Q.net archival system of their historical 20Q games. Like, I didn't find it. I had to go out of my way to look for it. Which is why I have a search on eBay, you know, keywords being rare Raka 20Q game. And that's how I found that one. And I think, what's next? What is next? Actually, no. I almost forgot to talk about this one. This is the only instance in which a 20Q game that's themed lets you select 2 games. And yes, I forgot to point those out. There are themed 20Q games, which there's music, sports, here's music and sports. There's music, rock and pop, which that gets to be kind of annoying. Music V2, which released in 2007. Disney, Harry Potter, Simpsons, Star Trek. Then there's the other V2s that released in 2007, as well as the very first and only physical release of the television AI. There's Music V2, which I already pointed out. Sports V2, People V2, and again, television. But this one is really unique because you actually don't just, you don't like have the choice of just one game. You'll see what I'm talking about. Pardon me. Having a hard time showing up on camera. Wait for it. Yes, do you want to play music, or sports. This is the only 20Q game to date, at least, that lets you choose which game you want to play. And here's the new layout. No, rarely, unknown sound, reset, undo, sometimes on yes, new game. Those are right there, the text scrolling buttons. And what should I cover next in this retrospective thing? Could have sworn I had music on me on standby. I'm getting kind of sidetracked again, though. Anyway. Oh, wait. Yes, here it is. This is Music V2, released chronologically in 2007, which it's got no batteries in it. I just realized that. But they focus on color contrast when they release these ones, like these variants, whatever. This is this wonderful cyan, blue, whatever color that's metallic. And the buttons are like, what would you call this? Like a burgundy red kind of orange? Whatever. But yes, like with these themed 20Q games, like if it asks you, are you a, then you select person, place, thing, or what, or unknown, or other, I think. You have to think of yourself as that person, place, thing, or other. You have to like keep that in mind. But yes, let me point this out. This is the Music V2. Sports V2 is like this burgundy red color with like lime green buttons. I still have it on standby, but I don't know where it is. Television, which is the only physical release of that AI, is metallic green with purplish buttons. And People V2 is this purplish pink color with green buttons, so kind of a color contrast, like an inverted color contrast. And I almost completely spaced on this. This is Junior 20Q. Which, it was going to be a gift for one of my friends, but once I found out that the packaging was open box, I didn't think he'd want it, so I have it because it's more or less of a miscommunication and joke, whatever. Ignoring that, it's pretty important for historical relevance, I guess. The buttons are, as you can tell, noticeably bigger, with the exception of the reset button. Was actually experimenting and played it like recently. It's pretty much, I think it's a 1.0 with, you know, if I can find it, the undo button. But yes, for like little kids, obviously, like the buttons were made to be a lot bigger. Yes and no being primary examples of this. They're rubber buttons again, which I'd assume that's done to make, you know, make it easier for children to hold on to. I'm not entirely sure. If you're wondering what this is all about, it's to help young kids think of an object that they can have the AI try and guess, which I will admit that's pretty cool. It came with 5 of these picture card things, and they are double-sided, which is pretty cool. But yes, it's literally like the original 20Q, but it has like banter like, don't you have homework to do? Or, you know, things that like banter that would, you know, be aimed at like a younger demographic, like kids, for example. And if I remember correctly, here is what the Disney one looks like. Which I love what it does when you turn it on, like when you first power it on, or when you reset the game, whatever. Watch this. I know what you're thinking. That seems kind of typical, but watch this. I love that. This one, the Star Trek one, the Simpsons one, and the Harry Potter one have their own respective homages. Like, the Harry Potter one has, like, thunderbolts that go across the screen. I will admit that's pretty cool. It's themed, it's, you know, modeled after the 2.0 globe-shaped thing. But, you know, there's no spot where the backlight switch would be, or backlight switch in general. It's just Disney-themed, which I think is pretty cool. Although, there is this. Is it a character, place, thing, or unknown? So, there is kind of an exception. And then, fast forward to, I believe, the exact same year. This is important because this is the very last 20Q game that Radica and Mattel had the rights to make. Where is it? Oh, here it is. The 20Q 3.0. Definitely the best in terms of actual artificial intelligence. This is not my original. This is actually a replacement, and this is, before people ask, this is not a metallic purple. It's this deep metallic blue color. There's this, there's a metallic red, and then there's a metallic purple that is kind of like this bright purple. It's not like this, though. And then that thing where the backlight switch would be if it had a backlight switch is there. And I don't know if it's nostalgia talking, but I love the sound font. And, like, I remember, like, a majority of the banter, too, like, which one's my favorite? I still have time to change my mind, and the screen's, like, it's full with, like, these clocks, and they, like, animate. I just love that. Like, that's why the 20Q 3.0 is my favorite. In terms of the Radica era, which is what I call it. If you fast forward to 2011, after Radica and Mattel had lost the rights to the 20Q patent, we fast forward to is definitely the best in terms of actual artificial intelligence. 20Q, the next generation, or as I like to call it, 20Q TNG. As you can see, the layout is completely different. Dare I say, well, they don't have the rights to anymore, but I have to make the pun, radically different. Sorry. But right here, sometimes, yes, which if you hold it down while it's powered on, it starts the game over again. Text scrolling speed is reduced to 1 button, which I feel like that was a pretty good idea. Volume, which it has 5 volume settings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, technically 6 if you include 0. It starts on 3, by the way. Undo. Skip, which, you know, lets you skip a question to prevent redundancy. And I think I already said this, but no. No, rarely. And that's the full layout. Also, I have to point this out. It has a freaking on and off switch. Thank you. The speaker grill is right here as well. Battery compartment is on the bottom. This is not the original 20Q TNG either, by the way. This is the Mega Screen edition, and this is definitely, like, my absolute favorite out of all the 20Qs, like, if you include the Radica era. This thing is really cool. Like, right now you won't be able to see it, but once I turn this on, wait until you see around the screen, not just the screen. Check this out. I love the lighting effects. The screen is definitely a lot more crisp and easy to read, and I just love this thing so freaking much. It is awesome. There's the volume control. But yes, 20Q, TNG, 20Q Next Generation, whatever. This is definitely the best version of the AI overall. Although, in terms of presentation, like, I don't hate the color, but especially the Mega Screen edition of the 20Q TNG, I'm not gonna lie, the lighting effects make it look kind of hideous. Like, red contrast with blue, it just doesn't work. Like, it's not like, it wasn't like a bad choice, I want to say, but it just looks really uncanny, if that makes sense. Like, it was definitely a good idea, like, to keep it consistent. Like, you don't want to, like, just swap out the lighting effect color for just one version. I get that, but it just looks really uncanny, to be honest. But, like, if they did color contrast, like, you know, not color contrast, like, have the color match up with the overall unit itself, I feel like it would have been a lot less uncanny. And then if you fast forward to what is pretty much the last version of 20Q, like, there hasn't been one since this came out, which I think that's because it probably bombed in terms of sales. The infamously hated 20Q Classic. Like, I went in with high expectations, expecting to be really, really awesome, but it's not. And it's not just like an opinion-based thing either when I say that the AI is really dumb. If you skip a question with the skip button, then it'll repeat, like, the exact same question verbatim a lot of the time. Like, aesthetically, it looks really cool. There's also the maybe button, which was included in the Jedi and Sith holocrons. which I don't have those. I'm not like a Star Wars fan. But it could have been a lot better. I will say this, though. Like, directly paying homage to the very first version of VAI with, you know, the original sound font, but compressed, was a nice little detail. Like, listen to this. Also, that's the thing, like, undo and new game are the exact same button. That doesn't really make sense, nor does it work on any level. But, yeah, 20Q has kind of come to a standstill after this. Like, there isn't anything that came after this, from what I remember. Actually, no, wait, there was the TARDIS thing, the Doctor Who, whatever. But I think after that, there wasn't really anything else. There hasn't been for a long time. So, I bet the question on your mind is, okay, but which 20Q game do you recommend? And to that, I have to answer, it depends on your preference, really. If you want my opinion, like, again, if you want my opinion, hold on, pardon me. Either the 3.0 or TNG. If you really want one of the 2.0s, you know, if you can find any of them on eBay. Again, it more or less depends on how you prefer, like, your preference. Like, if you're looking for something that looks aesthetically pleasing, go with one of the color changers. Go with the, that's the Music V2. Go with the glow in the dark, you know, if you can find it. Go with one of the spring color variants. Again, it's mostly opinion based. But yeah, it's a lot of technical stuff and just like opinion based stuff to explain how 20Q operates, how it's aged, how it hasn't aged gracefully in terms of like the 1.0, how it's evolved. It's a very interesting game. Like, if you're interested in like having fun and being scared at the exact same time, go with 20Q. It's a very fun, unique experience. Anyway, with that being said, Earthworm Joe 94, signing out. Catch you on the flip slide.